By now, most people should know that DS stands for DS, which in French means goddess.
Now, you see, I hear the word goddess, typical male, I get super excited. I'm visualizing blonde, 6-foot buxom babe, but goddess actually means kind of out of this world, not from this planet.
Sort of. When applied to the Citroën brand, DS is about quirkiness, it's about individuality, it's about something different.
It's about technology, sculpture, design orientated, kind of things that might not always fit into a car as you would imagine in a normal sense.
It's also about a sporty drive, and that's something we felt in the DS3, which has won awards around the world.
Oh, but hang on, the DS4 has also won awards. When it was launched at the Paris Motor Show last year, it was voted the most beautiful car by a lot of French people, which is a huge surprise.
Well, I'm hoping that the DS4 is going to be a big surprise as well, in a good way.
Okay.
You know, sitting in your position, I was quite disappointed. Sitting in my position now, I'm quite happy.
You're gonna have to explain this because I know you were nuts about the DS3. So what's not so cool about the DS4?
Okay, well, from a driver's point of view, I just don't think it delivers the same kind of drive. Perhaps it's the difference between the 2-litre diesel we're driving and the 1.6 THP that's in the DS3, which is also available in this, but we're driving the diesel. Just don't think it's got the same drive qualities. What do you think?
Well, look, I never drove the DS3, and I can imagine 147 kilowatts in a small two-door car must have been a real pocket rocket. I'd love to drive the 1.6 THP in this because everyone raves about it, but I still think from a diesel perspective, it's cool to be driving so-called high-performance diesels. We saw the same in the BM 120D. They're still fun to drive, but I know what you mean. It kind of looks like it's going to be all mean and fire and brimstone, and it kind of doesn't deliver on its super sporty looks.
I actually don't know that I agree with you that it looks aggressive. I think it's got quite a feminine look to it, but I think the DS badge makes you think that it's sporty.
Did you notice the stilts?
Yes, the
stilettos. It's like an SUV hatchback.
Yes, it's quite odd. It's got a raised body, which is also quite different to the DS, which looked, poised and ready to spring.
From a drive point of view, I do find these Citroëns are super firm. Yes. For me, I think too firm. Our roads aren't the greatest, and you literally do feel every single dip and bump on the road. So it almost doesn't back that up either. It should be a little bit more compliant, I think, in terms of the drive.
I half agree with you, because the DS3 also had the hard ride, but the sporty performance matched it, so it was okay. Whereas this, you've just got a hard ride and a semi-sporty performance.
But it seems like you're happy sitting in the passenger seat.
I am loving being in the passenger seat because you've got these wonderfully buckety, sporty seats. I love the two-tone interior we've got. We've got a white and black interior, but there's 3 different options. The seats you can massage, you can heat, and a lot of this is well thought out. I mean, it's beautiful sort of carbon fiber finish here. You've got chrome bits and pieces.
A lot of soft touch.
Yeah, soft touch.
But but Peugeot and Citroën have always done this. I mean, they make beautiful cars, and the interiors you can never ever fault. And you can go and change the warning tones on the vehicle. You can change the instrumentation lighting. This is just really busy for me. The steering wheel, it's massive. You get into this car and you kind of want a chunky, sporty feel.
Exactly.
At its buttons. I've never been intimidated by a steering wheel before, but this is right up there with the best of them.
That's exactly what I said about the C4 when we did the review on that. But here it's even more irritating because it is so big. Yeah. You want a small, chunky, sporty steering wheel.
Look, I think once you've got the hang of what everything does, I think it's going to be great because eyes on the road, hands on the wheel, and you're going to be able to adjust everything from there. Another cool feature is, they do bring a lot of light and visibility into their cars. So they've got this little sliding device, which is really cool. So, you can shut out some light, but if you want to let the light in, it gives you up to 45-degree angle. So that's cool. They really think some practical things into their vehicles.
They do, and it all comes standard as well. I mean, the only option is the navigation system.
Price?
So the price is 319,000 Rand for the 2-litre diesel that we're driving.
And performance-wise, I mean, seriously, for diesel, they've got one of the best diesel motors, I think. I mean, 120 kilowatts.
340 newtons.
That's plenty.
Yeah, it is plenty.
I just find myself getting tired of that very short window that you can play in a
the
diesel.
gears.
Yeah, you hit that power band very quickly. You go through the gears quite fast. I think that's why I'm kind of amped to drive the 1.6 turbo petrol, because you're going to really let it rev. But it certainly goes well. I think your economy figures are going to justify it, and there's no difference, mind you, in price between the 1.6 THP and the diesel, which is pretty cool.
It is quite cool. I think I'd probably go for the THP, just having driven the THP and the DS3. You know, Morris, I think everything that we've just been discussing in the car is a little null and void. You can't discuss things like practicality and whether we like the design or not, because this car doesn't care. It's going to do what it does.
You're right. Any car that has 4 doors, but you can't open the windows at the back, is telling you, I don't give a hoot what you think. This is about what looks functional and cool.
Absolutely, and any car that says it's a 2+2 coupe, but it's got a raised ride height, is a little schizo.
I love that, eh? Crossover urban ground clearance. So it's a sporty, dynamic looking hatch where you sit higher like an SUV, but yet it still is dynamic in its drive. It's just really bizarre. Great that a diesel looks like this. I mean, that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Great motors. I do think the drive is a little bit too firm for the punch that it packs.
I would like it to have been a little more dynamic, in terms of the same way the DS3 was dynamic when it came along.
I can imagine. I mean, that DS3's got the same motors that they're running in the DS4. A hell of a lot lighter car, smaller car, so I can only imagine that must have thrilled. But I think for me, really, if you look at this, how different is it to a C4? It comes down to price, because literally I think you're paying between 10 and 20 grand extra, depending on which model you go for, to give yourself a car that is going to look like no other car on the road. And I think that's where it sells itself.
Certainly a car with attitude.
A goddess, because it doesn't make any sense. They never do.